What's up, interpreters? My name is Natalie Teboul. I'm also known as Traveling Miss T, your friendly pilot of the coordinate plane, and I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me, NAI.
What's up, interpreters? This is Heather, your corporate engagement and partnerships manager.
What is up, interpreters? This is Song, your NAI events and conferences manager. Natalie, so nice to have you on this podcast.
Yay, it's nice to be here.
So, in a nutshell, what is Traveling Miss T?
Oh my goodness, loaded question. In a nutshell, so Traveling Miss T, she's, quote, the pilot of the coordinate plane. And so basically what she does is she travels around the world, but by coordinate plane, which is actually like a hilarious math pun if you're a nerdy math teacher like me. But not everybody gets that. A lot of people think I like travel the world. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been to the North Pole. And I'm like, it's literally a piece of paper that I print out. It's like an art project. So basically, Traveling Miss T travels the world. She teaches kids about different places around the world, different people around the world, parks around the world, by mixing math standards with maps of the world. I said world so many times, but that's what she does.
Travels the plane, travels the world. So, I've seen some of your printed math maps. I've checked out your website. I've listened to one of your online presentations. How did you come up with this idea, like of blending geography, travel, math, and mathematical concepts?
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me this all the time, and I don't have like a great answer for you because I, you know, I like to think I'm a creative person. And so sometimes weird things just kind of like make sense to someone and it's very weird to someone else. But I think a lot of people, they really believe in like, I'm right-sided of the brain or left-sided of the brain. And I'm really lucky that I have both. I have a background in both math and writing. So I have a master's in math education and I have an MFA in creative writing. So I've always sort of been using both sides of my brain. So I guess I got inspired because I was teaching fifth grade, and the curriculum for fifth grade is the 50 state capitals. And every year I would throw this like a horse and pony show for the fifth grade state fair. And I used to make all of my students make maps of their state and make a booth and have an activity. It was like a really big to do in the classroom. And at the same time we were doing that, we were also learning coordinate geometry because that's also a fifth grade standard. So I was already mixing social studies and travel and the 50 states and mapping. And then I was teaching coordinate geometry. And then I was teaching like persuasive writing, like persuade someone to move to the state. And when COVID hit and everybody like freaked out and there was nothing to do, my creative energy could no longer be used in the classroom where I would normally let it out. And so I just like started combining all of my things into one and then realized like, wow, I am onto something. And I got so excited. And then I like built an entire business out of it.
Thank you for sharing that because I was wondering, like, kind of how I knew that you had been a school teacher, but
Yeah.
I didn't understand the transition. And now, do you still work with school systems?
Yes. So I'm really lucky. I work as the director of education at a dance studio. I have like the most bizarre setup on the planet. Like when people talk about their careers and they're like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, this is like, do you actually want to know? Because I could like tell you what I do, but it would take me hours because it's so crazy. So I partnered with a dance studio when COVID hit, and I was supporting their dancers academically because everybody was doing online school in California. And I was a dancer myself, and I used to tap dance at this dance studio, which is how they found out about me. So I partnered with the dance studio. I was doing these like underground pandemic pods and like helping kids do school online. It was just like such a weird time because I couldn't teach in person. So then when everybody went back to school, all of the dancers were like, oh, but you're like part of our family now. And so we created a role as the director of education at this dance studio where I opened a learning center. So now I have my own business where I specialize in K through 12 academic tutoring, and I work still with students 3-4 days a week. I run their internship program. I'm the liaison between the school districts to make sure that the kids are fulfilling their phys ed requirements. So I still have a day job, but as a private tutor, if I don't go to work or if I get sick, I don't have any benefits, I don't have any income. And I was like, I need passive income. And so that's sort of how Traveling Miss T was born a couple years into being into business, because I realized that like curriculum is something that people can buy in one click, download online. So I do service where I work with K through 12 students, and then I write the curriculum. And then through the curriculum, I go into schools and classrooms and I work with teachers and students to then implement it, because I still have a clear teaching credential in California. So long story long, yes, I still work in K-12. I love it. I go visit schools all the time. I do STEM fairs. This weekend, I'm doing a event with San Diego County Park Society, and we're going to be math mapping San Diego County. And then I still get my private students who are awesome and all different ages, a couple days a week.
I have so many questions now. Sorry, Song, but like what I'm thinking is like, what do you think that did you like come up with an entrepreneurial spirit, or do you think that's something you're born with? Because like I'm thinking about like, to me, this all like I wouldn't know where to begin with like your motivation and kind of just like gumption to like go for things. Well, first of all, I am not as educated as you or well-rounded as you. It's unbelievable how much you've done in your like, because you're not a super
Right.
old
Yeah,
person.
I know. I'm 33. It's okay.
Yeah. So do you think, have you kind of always like had this entrepreneurial spirit about you?
Yes. So I'm really lucky. My dad is an entrepreneur. So my family, you'll love this. Wow. Let's actually, when people ask, what do you do? Let's throw this on top. So my dad makes charcuterie. He's French. He's a charcutier, but not like people who like cut up salami and make it look nice on a board. Like he actually makes the meats. He manufactures meats, right? Very high-end products. So I also sell salami. Like that's like a side note. It's like PS, and then I sell salami, or I like give charcuterie classes. Like I'm literally a charcuterie expert. I grew up with like meat hanging from the ceiling. So I grew up around someone starting a business. And so I think that that is what really helps with my mindset of like, I can do hard things and I can start a business. I also have always been a hustler, I guess. Like I started working the minute I turned 16. I was a lifeguard, I was tutoring, I was bedazzling people's sneakers in college for money. Like, so I don't know if that was learned or if it just like
No.
is in me,
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah, I've always had that like, honestly, I really do think it's like an outlet for creativity. Like I think it's more creativity than it is entrepreneurial, because if it was entrepreneurial, I would be a millionaire, which I'm not. I feel like I'm making art projects. Like I am making maps every single day and like somebody noticed me. Like I feel like an artist more than an entrepreneur.
No, exactly. And reading some of your Google reviews, that is what people say. The testimonials are like, um, they're like art, but it's math.
Yeah,
So I love
exactly.
this left brain, right brain combo that you've got going on. It's again, not a lot of people have both of those, but you've mentioned so many things um, like in your hustle and starting a business and marrying ideas together. Interpreters are incredibly diverse in their skill sets, right? Especially in communication. So, like being a boss, I know you're going to teach this at a class, not a class, you are presenting online this year at
Yeah.
conference, um, really about how to kind of have that entrepreneurial spirit and how can interpreters get more revenue for what they do, and whether that is with their organization or maybe on the side as a side hustle. But like, what are your thoughts on the skill set for interpreters to become more entrepreneurial?
Wow. Okay. What is the skill set? That's a great question. I think the biggest issue in like actually in every industry, not just interpretation, the biggest issue is stigmas surrounding different fields. Okay. So you think park interpreter, you think park ranger, and this is somebody who's like a do gooder for the planet. They get paid $16 an hour, whatever it is, right? It's not like venture capitalism, right? Those are two completely different things. And because we fall into these categories is why we have so many problems. And it's interesting because you bring up like, oh, you're mixing so many different things. And it's like, yeah, that's what we need to be doing as a society is we need to be mixing more things together. And the fact that we don't, and we become so obsessed with like labeling you into this, and you have to pick this major, and you're a math person, and you're an English person, and you interpret parks, but you can't do this. And like, there's no mixing of things. And so if instead of just like super labeling and focusing on one thing, we could kind of think like the venture capitalist, think like the park interpreter, think like a teacher, right? Then we would have a way more productive society. So like, I think the biggest thing is to kind of get out of your comfort zone, get out of your bubble, get out of the stigma of like, oh, I'm here to save the planet. And like, I don't care about money. You still need to live. Like, it's okay to care about the planet and make money. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that like mindset is probably the biggest issue, and changing it to be like, I'm saving the world and I deserve more money than a venture capitalist who is not saving the world. Like, why? That is the mindset that interpreters need to take on.
Think like a bedazzler.
Think like a bedazzler. Like, exactly. Dazzle some sneakers, sell some salami, just like figure it out.
When in this journey of yours did interpretation come about?
Okay, this is a good one. So I have to backtrack. When I was teaching fifth grade, my classroom was Hogwarts themed. Okay, obviously, right? I told you I had all this creative energy, and like the first grade teacher at the school I used to work at, her name is Lisa. If she ever hears this, like, she was a huge inspiration. She used to transform her classrooms for her first graders into like, when they learned about the ocean, you were under the sea for the month, and everything they made in the classroom was like on the walls. There was a big blow up whale. Like, it was next level. And she's the one who taught me that like the place where you learn makes a really big difference. So I took that and I really wanted to commit to a theme. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do, if I ever went back to the classroom, I would have an around the world theme. It would be amazing, but I don't think that's happening. But either way, I was like really committed to this theme, and I made my classroom the Hogwarts castle. Okay. So the entire classroom, like, they were like, we always had the lights off. They learned by twinkle lights, and there was like platform 9 3/4, and there was a Quidditch field. I had grass, like fake grass in one area of my classroom for them to sit. There weren't desks. People could sit underneath the table, and they could sit on the couch in the Gryffindor common room. And like every Friday we had a sorting, right? So it was like a very intense learning environment. Okay. Now, with that learning environment, I could not recreate that during COVID. Okay. So I was like, how can I bring Hogwarts to kids online? Okay. Then I started making maps to make them like maps of the Hogwarts castle. And then I was like, oh, this is a really cool idea. What if I did like maps of Disneyland's and like brought them to all these different places through mapping? Then I fell into an issue with copyright, right? Because like I can't map the Hogwarts castle. That doesn't belong to me. I can't map Disneyland. That doesn't belong to me. But you can map the world because maps are in the public domain. And then that led me down an even larger rabbit hole, which is that all of our national parks are in the public domain. But then I was like, oh, national parks. I am from New York City. Like, I had never been to a national park. That was not part of my upbringing. And learning about our national park system was, my first national park was during COVID. I went to Black Canyon of the Gunnison. I went to Grand Canyon. We saw Zion. We did a bunch. We did like a huge road trip because there was nothing to do. I slept in a tent. That was so crazy. And then it was like, wow, there's so many people, especially like I started teaching in the South Bronx. My students in the South Bronx, I guarantee, have never heard of Zion National Park. I had never, it like, we're not exposed to it. So then I thought, well, how can I expose this to more people? Oh my God, maps. And then everything was kind of clicking all at once. It just like, things just got so crazy in the pandemic, right? Either really good crazy or really bad crazy. For me, I'm really lucky that it was so positive because it brought me outside. It made me think of this like insane concept, but it really was this idea initially of bringing kids to magical places and then not being allowed to because of copyrights, and then obsessing over our public lands are supposed to be accessible, and then realizing, hey, our public lands are actually not that accessible. Like, this is a problem. And how can we solve it with maps? And it's through
But did you see an interpreter at a national park, or Like, I feel like you had just learned about NAI when you and I met, I think, right?
Yes, in
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
No, you'll love this. So I go down this rabbit hole and I'm like, oh, there's so many national parks. This is so cool. And then I go on the website and I see this like, oh, free resources. And I start like going through national park resources for teachers. And like, they're very outdated. I'll leave it at that. And I was like, who makes these? And so then that's how I ended up in interpretation is I was like, I want to make these. I want this to be my job because no offense, I would do a better job. Like they're literally so outdated. If you go and look through that database, you won't even be shocked. But some things I'm like, this link doesn't work. What is this? What learning standard? Like from a teacher mindset, I was like, oh, good, another word search. So fun, right? So I kind of became obsessed with like who is making these materials. And then like, oh, I want to work for the National Park Service. So then I went to the National Park Service. Like I called headquarters and I was like, oh, I have this like great program for you. Like, here you go, take it for free. Like hire me. And that was hilarious because obviously it doesn't work that way. And that was a journey in itself. And then I realized, okay, wait a second, I need to like backtrack. And that's how I found NAI, Public Lands Alliance. I like went to a conference really early in traveling Miss T days that I was like really not welcome at because I didn't work for the national parks, but I like registered online. I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to be there because I just signed up. And they were like, wait, you don't work for the parks? I was like, no, but how was I supposed to know? So I like had a really hard time figuring out this industry, which is how I like realized, okay, the people I connect with are the people who are making these resources. The people making these resources are called park interpreters. But even with NAI, when I told like my mom about it, she kept saying, oh, what do you mean you're an interpreter? Like you speak sign language? I was like, no, that's not what it means. Like there are a lot of people who don't even know about this field, like me being one of them. I didn't even know it existed.
Yes, there's so many people who are interpreters, they just don't know it. Right,
Yeah.
Natalie? Well, what if obviously the pains, the fails, the, fail fasts of trying to start your own business and getting in the door and knocking down doors. Um, what has been one of your bigger challenges in creating and distributing your product, your math maps?
I love that question. My biggest challenge is that people are very set in their ways and it's easier to say no than say yes. And times are changing. And if everybody could just sort of like work together to get something done, I think we'd be a lot more productive. And I find a lot of times, like when I'm looking for new partners, I'm trying to create a map or I want to work with some agency. Oh, we can't endorse private business, or like you need to do this, or why aren't you a nonprofit? Or like there are so many roadblocks when it's like, can you just look at what I'm doing? Every single park, every single visitor center, every single airport, everybody has maps, right? But like we don't have maps for kids. So why on earth, when you drive into a national park, if you hand out a map, why can't you hand out a map activity for a kid as well? To me, that could systemically be adopted if one person said yes. And it takes someone like me bugging people, driving everyone crazy. And they're like, oh my God, this girl is crazy. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going and I'm going to find the loopholes, which is like the friends groups have been amazing, partnering with nonprofits, connecting with interpreters who understand the value of what I'm doing, and just spreading the word as much as I possibly can until eventually, instead of coming from like the top down, I'm going down up. Eventually, someone at the top will realize, oh, this is like really easy to adopt systemically, and it wouldn't really take that much for somebody to say yes to it. And so that's the biggest challenge, is getting the yes. But once I get it, it just like makes so much sense.
Have you worked with adults at all with the mapping?
It's mostly kids, just because, I mean, adults do my maps, because, okay, here's what's kind of cool. If you were to print out a map of like any destination, right, they make really cute cards. So like every year on Valentine's Day, I print out my Paris map and I put these like cute little stickers and I like make Valentines, like take a trip to Paris, happy Valentine's Day. I like give it to my parents. I give it like, it's creative. So I've seen adults use the maps as templates to make their own more creative, like reading card, I guess. So it absolutely can be used. It's essentially like a way for somebody to make a map just because it hits a math standard. It's an easy way, right? You plot and find points. So adults definitely can do them, but I don't like market to adults
Mhm.
the way I market to kids, because at the end of the day, like, I am a math teacher and I want people to like math. And like, that's a whole separate can of worms, is that there's a huge stigma surrounding math, right? Everyone's like STEM and STEAM and like completely ignoring the M portion of that. It's like, yeah, math. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants to talk about it. People are like, oh, I'm not a math person. And it's like, math can be creative. Math is problem solving. It's like a way of opening your brain. And I don't know.
That
I went
that's
down a
a
rabbit hole.
you mentioned marketing, and you are
Yeah.
so good at social media. I mean, you're just all over the place all the time. Is that it's obviously a conscious effort. Can you talk just a little bit about your social media and how many hours and stuff you work on that, and also how it affects your work? Like, is it productive to do that? I imagine it is.
Yeah. So that's a really good question, because so, when we talk about careers and you like talk to people and it's like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I do this. Oh, I do this. It's like, oh, I'm a social media marketing manager or whatever that means. I'm like, yeah, same. And I have like 500 full-time jobs. Like, I do like 20 different people's full-time job every single day. And I like wish more people understood that, because it does take a lot of effort. Like, in order for me to constantly push out content, like, I have to create the map to begin with, and then I have to print it out. I have to pick up my selfie stick. I have to actually map it. I have to edit the video, post it online, use the right hashtags, and like, it's exhausting, right? But I'm honestly just very motivated, because like, I can't explain to a random person on the street what a math map is. You have to see it. When you create something, like, I invented something from scratch. Nobody else has combined mapping with coordinate geometry. It's a hard concept to explain, but if I have 700 examples as like a major portfolio on social media, now, oh, I get it. You're traveling the world by coordinate plane. That's what a math map is. It just like makes more sense. So I'm thinking very much like long-term business goals. And for me, it's more about like just driving awareness and awareness of these different places. So I found that with the social media marketing, like, the best way to do it is by collaborating with other accounts. So like, I do Wildlife Wednesday with America's Wildlife Refuges. And then I did like Deer Flat, and then Friends of Deer Flat collaborated on that, right? Because like, the point is to teach people about these different places. So I don't think of it like social media as much as I think of it as like an art portfolio, right? So again, going back to that idea of like an entrepreneurial spirit, like, if I had an entrepreneurial spirit, more of one, I would have thousands and thousands of followers, which I don't. I just like am doing art projects. Like, I want people to see my art. I feel like a starving artist. At the end of the day, that's like what this is about, right? Is like, I'm making art and I don't know how to get attention, so I post it on social media.
That's awesome. Do you have any new upcoming initiatives, new map themes, partnerships, stuff you're excited about?
Yes, I do. I'm so excited. I'm so happy you asked. I have been working on my largest project yet, which is so exciting, with San Diego County Parks Society. That was my sponsoring partner. And we worked with the County of San Diego Department of Parks and Rec to go visit. We picked 10 sites because all of my templates by coordinate plane usually focus on 10 sites. I think we did 9 actually, because San Diego's humongous. And I actually went to all of those sites. I created video footage and activities. So, for example, at the Santa Isabel Nature Center, it's in Julian, which is part of the Gold Rush. And so then Traveling Miss T and the Rangers pan for gold. And then that gets uploaded onto YouTube. And all of it has been embedded into a story map. And I'm so excited because I just learned that story maps exist. I had no clue. I went to the Esri conference a month ago, and it like completely changed my life, because now I can make a curriculum and align it with a story map where it's interactive, and kids can click on the place on the map and then the video pops up, and it's just like so cool. I'm so excited. That is launching on Sunday. We're doing an event, and that will be in San Diego school districts. So I'm really excited to give a couple guest lessons and teach people about San Diego County Parks. That I'm super excited for. That's been a big project in the works, and I'm really excited it's almost over, because it's been a long time.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I want to
Great.
go. I'm going to go
And
to your
it's
event on
free.
Sunday.
Anyone can go. Anyone can travel by coordinate plane. That's the best part.
That is so cool. It's super accessible.
how many hours in a day do you have? Because I don't know how you do all of this, Natalie. Like, I'm exhausted listening to you.
Yeah, it's great. Actually, it's so funny you bring that up because so my husband, he's like, he doesn't understand sometimes like chores, right? I'm like supposed to do the laundry, whatever, because I'm working from home because it's summer and I'm supposed to be off, not off, like working so much. So the other day he comes home, he's like, "You didn't do the laundry?" And I was like, "I literally had so much to do today. Like, why don't you understand? I had so much to do." And he's like, "It takes 2 seconds to switch the laundry. You've been home all day. What do you mean you have so much to do?" Like, he like doesn't get what I do all day. And I think a lot of people don't get what I do all day, but I am so structured, which like I
Yeah.
learned from being a classroom teacher where, when you're working with kids, I think like the biggest thing with behavior management is like from this time to this time is when we do this. And from this time to this time, you can like maybe go get a sip of water. And from this time to this time is lunch. Like that schedule is everything
Mhm.
for me. So I like wake up at the exact same time every single day. And I do this at the exact same time every single day. And it like might sound a little bit OCD, but it's not about having more hours. It's about like maximizing the hours I
Yeah.
have and like keeping a really tight schedule and making to-do lists like and being okay with putting certain tasks on different days, right? So like every Tuesday I do travel Tuesday. That's a big day where I'm going to make maps and make all those videos that I'm going to then post throughout the week instead of having to like make a video and take out my markers and take out the selfie stick and like do a whole thing every single day. It's like that's a Tuesday task. So
Wow.
really keeping that schedule, right?
Mhm.
Because like I still have a job. I think people forget like this is like a hobby gone absolutely berserk that like turned into a business, but I still am like a working person. I have like my customers, I have to do my admin, I have to do my billing, like I have like normal things to do. So I think keeping a really tight structured schedule is like the reason why I'm able to pull it off.
Wow. And it just puts a lens on like how hard you really have to work if you want to do your own thing, and because you can hear the passion in your voice for this,
Thank
which I
you.
love. It's infectious. Thank you.
Thanks.
So, Natalie, where can people find Traveling Miss T?
Anywhere. You can find me on the coordinate plane anywhere around the world, but especially at travelingmisst.com or at travelingmisst, TRAVEL1LINGMISST. I also have a new ArcGIS account, Miss T at ArcGIS, where you can see all of those interactive field trips. You can reach me at misst at travelingmisst.com. Send me a DM. I love those. Yeah. Oh, and you'll find me at NAI for the digital conference this year, hopefully in person next year because you're coming to the West Coast and I'm
Yes.
excited. I'll also be at the American Association of Geographers mapping this March. So that's really cool. And actually, there's a lot of overlap between interpretation and geography. You guys, your organizations should be friends.
Hmm.
We
Good.
should. We like
Thank you.
friends.
Yeah.
We
I'll
love
connect.
friends.
Partnerships are good.
Yeah.
All right, Natalie, thank you so much for being on our podcast. It's always great. Well, we get to see you because we're
Yeah,
on
I'm
Zoom.
so
So
happy to
it's
see
always good
you.
to see you. Just thanks for all you do. And I just always love talking to you because you are always so excited and happy and engaged. And you're just doing such great stuff out there.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for noticing. Like, seriously, I think that's a big part of it is I don't really feel like that many people are like noticing or listening. And it's like, oh my God, I'm exhausting my efforts. Can someone please just notice? And I feel very deeply supported by NAI. And so like that really means a lot is to like feel like someone is paying attention. So thank you.
And interpreters.
That's
What's up?
up.